SVG's Jason Dachman here with another episode of SVG Sports Tech On Demand, and I am joined by Bob Vassar, VP of Worldwide Technical Sales and Service at Tiger Technology. Bob, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time. First of all, everybody healthy in your household and on the Tiger Tech team right now?
Everybody's doing great.
Excellent.
Thank you for asking. And you?
Yep, we're hanging in just like everybody else, and that's good to hear. That's what's most important.
Exactly.
Look, let's kind of start out with, for those watching and those in the industry who aren't familiar with Tiger Technology, give us a little background in terms of what you guys provide, the solutions you offer, and a bit of history.
Sure. So Tiger Technology has been around for many years. We were founded in 2004. We started focusing on software development, addressing media and entertainment workflows. Over the past few years, some of that technology that we've developed has now been looked at, and we're addressing data management needs for additional markets such as surveillance and enterprise IT. So at our core, the software provides an end-to-end parallel processing workflow for content creation and management, whether it's editing, data management, visual effects, transcoding. And all of that can be done simultaneously with our high-performance file system sharing software, which is called Tiger Store. We also have workspace, project virtualization, data management software, which would be our Spaces product. And then what's been most interesting or compelling for users lately is our Bridge product. It's called Bridge, which is a seamless HSM auto-tiering of your content, whether it's tiering it to disk, NAS, or even cloud, whether it's public or private.
Very cool. Okay, great. So when you're working with M&E customers specifically, what are some of the pillars that you talk to them about in terms of building out their production ecosystem, making sure that the solutions are there that are going to allow them to function as efficiently as possible?
So first and foremost is having a conversation and gathering requirements. Media and entertainment workflows across the board are not all the same. So we need to understand what their workflow is, what their demands are, what the tools, whether it's heavily content creation, ingest, whether they're doing analytics on data, or more recently, whether they've got a hybrid cloud approach and are looking to work both on-prem or in the cloud or vice versa. So we're not seeing on-prem going away. So we still have the tools that support that traditional media workflow, whether it's a SAN, a NAS, or a hybrid of either one of those. And as I mentioned, the ability to tier that into the cloud for multiple of purposes that I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to, scaling out workflows in the cloud, what's some of the advice that you have for people, and how can Tiger Technology help them sort of make that shift either to a hybrid environment or more of a fully cloud-based environment?
Sure. So in most media and entertainment, whether it's if it's more than the production side of it, it's going to be still on-prem, heavily on-prem usage. The tools are still on-prem. The user experience is better, still on-prem. But they're still looking at ways to extend their facility and manage data. Either it's tiering or migration of data into the cloud, whether it's extending their local capacity to have sort of a virtual extension of a namespace into the cloud, which gives them disaster recovery, business continuity of data, and then whether it's distribution over the top. Some of those type of workflows end up being the easier ones to manage and migrate to the cloud, as they're starting to look at microservices and flows and to be able to push data closer to the edge and get that closer to the end user.
Sure. Yeah. So speaking of the cloud, look, pretty much everybody is working remotely right now, right? Everyone is trying to figure out how to keep creating content, keep the lights on, keep that pipe running with media for fans and for viewers. But they're having to do it from their homes often. So you mentioned Tiger Bridge earlier, And I'm curious, how does that play into enabling some of these remote workflows, and how do you see these remote workflows sort of changing the way that media and entertainment is going to function?
Sure. So most facilities today have been working locally with their local data center, local stores. They've got a repository that sits within their facility, and overnight they've all become remote users. So
Right.
it's easy enough to pick up your machine, throw it in the trunk of the car, drive home, and start working on it. The problem is you now have to figure out how to connect to that central repository and work on projects, whether they're existing projects that need to be finished or creating something new. How do I get access to that data? And it could just be an SMB share, a network share from the local facility, which in that case requires a lot of copying of material local, depending on the bandwidth requirements that they've got at their house. How do you manage that workflow with multiple users at home? And what we're finding interesting enough is, cloud, what we were seeing was probably a year or more out before those companies are starting to figure out how do I adapt to the cloud technology. And that's all been accelerated
Right.
now, right? So what we're seeing is, how do I manage that data, and our ability with Bridge to tier that data on-prem into a cloud repository, into a bucket or a blob, depending on your service provider, and having all of your users remote connect to that and extend that namespace. So all of your users at home now feel like they're still at the office. They still have their entire repository local. The content is just not there unless they want it. And then the ability to pull down content based on user needs, as opposed to bringing the entire file down and waiting for that to get in their local drive to be able to start working, which in some cases means you have to, your production time is really slow because you have to allow all of that copy time.
Sure.
So we give them the ability to search, scan locally, be able to open up applications, have applications access data, and pull down just what they need, as opposed to really large files, which most people didn't think ahead of time. Should I ingest and chunk files up into smaller, more workable file sets to work at home? So you still may be working on a very large data set.
Right. Yeah. And you have to be able to have reasonable turnaround time, even with those massive files. So that's where this workflow comes into use. So Bob, I really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much. And please, our best to the entire Tiger Technology team, and stay safe.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
For more episodes of SVG Sports Tech On Demand, stay tuned to sportsvideo.org and the SVG YouTube channel.